say then there are basically three sounds. There's a long sound, like this one here, E, or A. There's a short sound that is tight, A. And there's a short sound that is loose, E. Now, English uses mostly the loose sounds, E, A, I, A. That's how we make our vowels. Chinese uses mostly the tight ones, A and O, right? A, you have to open your mouth anyway, right? It's hard to say with your mouth closed. But your other vowels, A and O, even E, keep your mouth tight and closed. So if people don't understand your vowels, maybe that's part of it. Okay, so 母音的问题不是英文的问题，是中文的问题。这边你要开始。You start with the Chinese problems. Understand how you make your Chinese sounds. And then when you learn a new language, English, German, French, it doesn't matter. When you learn a new language, you start from something that you know. You understand sounds, then you know what to do with the new language. If you don't understand the sounds in Chinese, England 没有办法, you're not going to understand them there either. 都了解吗? Okay, any questions about this? Now, I usually like to start with sounds because if you have better sounds, people will understand you better and you'll be more confident. If you know that you sound more English when you use English, then you'll feel better about yourself and you'll use more, right? If you feel embarrassed about your English, you'll be afraid to use it, right? Everybody feels that way. I felt that way when I was learning language. So if we can make your sounds better, more natural, then your language will be more easy to develop. Okay? So that's why we start with sounds. But the same idea works for everything else. So, 你们有没有英文的文法的问题? Do you have any questions about English grammar? Because we can do exactly the same thing and start with the Chinese grammar. I could just ask the same question. Do you understand Chinese grammar? 中文的文法，你了解吗？是吗？ Okay. 学生不可以喝啤酒，啤酒不可以喝。为什么是一样的意思？ Why do those have the same meaning in Chinese? But in English, students can't drink beer, beer can't drink. Meaning is very different. So why? What do you guys think? Why? Is that an English problem? How come English isn't more like Chinese, right? Is that an English grammar problem? Or bored and boring? 有没有听过 boring is for things and bored is for people? Did your teachers ever tell you that? Because if they did, they're bad teachers. Or they just don't know what they're talking about. Does Chinese have grammar based on people and things? 人跟东西是中文的文法的问题吗？是英文的文法的问题吗？不是。English grammar doesn't care if it's a person or a thing. Okay? A thing can be boring and a thing can be bored. The word bored takes a different meaning. A person can be bored, a person can be boring. Okay? So then what makes them different? To understand that, you need to understand why Chinese thinks that way. You can just memorize, English is boring, not bored. The teacher is boring, but if the students are boring, then the teacher is, you can memorize every possible choice, but then you don't understand it. So, understand it instead. There's a pattern there, a really easy pattern. Back to the beer thing. 学生不该喝啤酒，啤酒不该喝。为什么中文有一样的意思？ Yeah, it's about the grammar, but why? What part of the grammar? What's going on there? Does anybody see where, oh, there it is. I put stuff down and I never find it again. Oh yeah, sure, did we miss the break or something? You always hear the bell, so. Oh, wow, okay, sorry. Yeah, if you need to go to the bathroom, I didn't hear the bell at all this time, so. Do you guys want to take a short break? Let's do that. So we'll take a 10-minute break, and then we come back, we'll see what other questions you have, okay? Okay, so short break, okay? Windows warm in here. You guys are from mainland? Okay. Okay. So you're just here to study, I guess. And do you have family in Taiwan? Okay. So do you like it in Taiwan? Maybe. Do you guys must have all the same food, right, on the mainland? About the same, yeah. Okay. How long have you been in Taiwan? 2 years now. Okay. Okay, it's your second year now. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your time here. Taiwan's a pretty awesome place. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's on my water bottle. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things I usually tell people at the very beginning, I'm not American. Canadians hate being called American. Everybody thinks, oh, I've already this will make one. Yeah. So, well, if you guys have any questions, do make sure you speak up. For the 中富号, it's the easiest way to deal with some of these issues. But if you guys want to come again for another class, and you remind me it's your second time, then there are a lot of other things to discuss that we don't need the 中富号for. So then I hope you know a bit more, accessible for you. But I usually tell everybody anyways, you're welcome to come to the class again. You don't need to sign up your name. If you want to come, and learn or practice or ask questions, then you're welcome to come. Okay. I'm here Wednesday and Thursday from 1 o'clock to 3 and 3 o'clock to 5. So I believe there's 4 classes. But I mean, it's almost always new students every time. So, yeah. So if you guys come again, I think there are other classes, but for these classes, it's just me. Wednesday and Thursday is, it's me. Yeah. So. Am I? Oh, I'm tired. It's not bad. It depends on the students. Sometimes the students just sit there, and I have to work really hard to, get some kind of feeling. But yeah, well, because of the level, I usually don't get a lot of conversation from the That's why I usually start with issues that I know everybody has a problem with. But when possible, I like to encourage students to ask their own questions, because then you learn more. So, yeah. Just getting some more water and then we'll continue. Okay, well, let's continue. So, again, my apologies that we started late and that things in general are running late, but so pretty much I'll summarize this issue and then whatever questions you have, we can look at. That happens almost every time. Okay. Here's the thing. If I say 关门, what do you understand that as? If I say 关门, close the door, right? Or it doesn't have to be telling somebody. If I do this action, what happens? Say that in Chinese. 关门, right? The door closes. Okay, but there's a problem now. Because when you say 关门, and when I say the door closes, we mean something very different. If I say the door closes, who closes the door? The door. If I say it in Chinese, 关门, who closes the door? A person, right? So how come in English the door can close itself, but in Chinese it can't? Are English doors more intelligent? English doors can close themselves, but Chinese doors don't know how to. 是这样子吗? Yeah, the door agrees. So, is that the issue? How do we deal with that? Because that is the basic problem for all Chinese English grammar problems. When you try to use Chinese grammar in an English sentence, then you always end up with that one basic problem, that in Chinese, the subject is always a person. 一定有人. 每个句子有人. Okay? Now, if every sentence has to have a person, 每个句子有人. 所以提出不可以的一样的意思不对，一样的问题. If you can say beer can't drink and you know there's a person in there, then what you understand, anytime you say beer can't drink, you mean that beer cannot be drunk. You mean that beer is not for students to drink. You're adding a person into your sentence every time. Right? Now, can we get away with that in English? If I say, beer can't drink, Can I interpret